Hi everyone, it's Jan. I got a few tricks for you. Have you had seams raveling out on you? You do your sewing and it doesn't look very nice on the inside? How about when you sew on knits and it puckers and it ravels and it stretches out of shape on you? Stay with me for a couple minutes, I'll have your problem solved. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you what stitches you have on your sewing machine to look for. So I'm using it on khaki fabric so it shows up real well. But how many of you have got a bunch of decorative stitches like this on your sewing machine and stitches that your machine does and you really don't know which ones to use? We're going to be going over them bit by bit by bit. So if you stay with me, we'll try to teach you some new things. The most important thing that you want is a tri-motion stitch. So I'm going to show you, all I have to do is turn to number 16 on my machine. So I just push in number 16 and I have it. And what it's doing is it's jumping back and forth. Now that's called tri-motion. And you got a good machine, it'll go back and forth in the same holes. This one, as I'm showing you here, is for knits. And we'll put it into application in 1 minute. The other one I want to switch over to is number on my machine, which I'm using a Baby Lock Accord Presto here, one of my favorites, and we're going to go to a stitch number 18. So I just have to push the buttons number 18 and it's going to set it up for me. You look in your manual so you know how to do it on your machine. Again, it's jumping back and forth. This stitch is much, much, much better for woven fabrics. The first one I'm going to use is best for knits. So here it is on knit fabric. Here it is on woven. But if you see, I'm going to pull this out and that is the end of the ravels. There's no ravels there. Are you aware that if I was sewing a garment together, that is my entire seam? So I have done virtually a straight stitch and a zigzag at the exact same time. I'm done, just like ready to wear. Those seams are done professionally on a serger, but if you don't have a serger, your machine right here that you might have, you need it. And if you don't have that stitch on your sewing machine, you get out and buy it because it's going to make the difference of your sewing machine really easy. So I'm going to go back to stitch number 16. I'm going to sew a neckline on real fast so I can show you what the appearance of it's going to be. Put yourself on high speed. Your neckline on making your t-shirt, we're doing a different day. What we're doing today is just showing you some of your overcasting stitches that you might have on your sewing machine to be able to do. I want you to take the time to try to look in your manual or to try your sewing machine to learn to find out these stitches because they will save you hours of time in the future. What I've done is I've finished my edge with my knit stitch. So I use this stitch that went forward and backward and across the eyes. When you do that with your sewing, you can stretch, but watch now, it's going to pull right back into shape. That's called tri-motion overcasting, and look what a beautiful edge it did for me right around my neckline. So I finished my seam, I overcasted, and I finished my seam, and I won't let that neckline, when it pulls over the little child's head, it won't be all pulled out of shape. You even have that happen on ready to wear when you buy a cheap t-shirt. You can do it really professionally on your own sewing machine. So that's the one. Now I work on a piece of fabric that is raveling. And so many fabrics do that. If you're even on a denim, sometimes you're starting off with like this before you even start. I'm going to snap off my presser foot and I'm going to use an overcasting foot. This doesn't come with many sewing machines, but what it does, if we can get in here, is it's got a little bar here. And it's going to make that zigzag part of your stitch reach from one side to the other. And the advantage of that is that you can't get what I call tunneling. Tunneling means your fabric goes like this and kind of puckers up. So if you use your overcasting stitch, and they're available for, I would say, every sewing machine. It does not come with most machines. You're going to be lucky if you found it in your attachment sets. Some companies give them to you. I know it comes with my Presto. So what I'm doing is it's got a groove. It's got an edge to the foot that is allowing the edge of my fabric. Oops, I got to turn to stitch number 18 though. And because I did that, I unthreaded my machine, so we'll solve that real quick. Watch the threading here. It'll really blow your mind. How do you like that? Threaded the machine right there for me. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going over that bar that I showed you. The stitch is going over that bar so that no ravelings. The edge is finished. It can't tunnel on me. Let's cut my thread off. And what it's done is a serged edge right along this edge. But by having the foot on, it has gone right against the edge for me. So I have stopped ravelings. There's no ravelings. There's no ravelings that can occur. It's done. And that is my entire seam. You'll find that a lot of the patterns are now going down to 1/4-inch seams. And that is because our sewing machines and our sergers give such beautiful finishes. I hope you look for it on your machine. It's called an overcasting. You might find a couple on your machine. You try for it and see what you can do on your machine. Going down with a straight stitch and back with a zigzag is 40 years ago now. Check for overcasting. If you don't have it on your sewing machine, it's one of the high priorities you should look into. And check out the overcasting foot. They're going to be for your low shank, but again, it's cut out. It makes a world of difference. Just like little tools for your kitchen, get the tools for your sewing room. Hope to see you soon.